I've hit the live button. I hope something's happened.
That I haven't got any
Oh,
notification.
you're live now, it says
Oh,
on the internet in a closed private group. Hello,
hello?
everyone.
Is there anybody there?
I hope so.
Jack, we made it ish.
What do we do now?
Well, we did have a plan. The question is whether we're going to stick to it or not.
It's actually just an excuse for us to talk about telly for an hour and a half.
Well, I got us some notes, and I actually can't read my handwriting, so
Me
you know,
neither.
I think anything could happen. So what should we talk about?
Oh no, I didn't know how to do this. Um, so
Man,
there
I've
are
got a
people
cold.
there
It's going
there
to
are
be
people watching us. I'm getting notifications that we have live viewers. Hello, everyone. Look at us.
hello, hello. Fancy seeing you here. This is very exciting. So I guess welcome to the very first exclusive episode of the mini experiment show. And before we dive into the show in too much detail, we just wanted to tell you where it came from. Because for those of you that have known the Rebel team for some time, you might know that we tend to go away every year. We take the team away to somewhere exotic for a week of strategy sessions and team building and all those kind of shenanigans. And obviously, you know, COVID kind of clipped our wings a little bit, but we're very pleased to say that's now restarted. And, you know, twice a year we take the team away, once in the UK, and then in January we went away to Poland for a week. We went to Krakow, and uh, it's so important for the team to be together, and we just make months worth of progress in just a few days. The trips are absolutely phenomenal. One of the most important things is the team building dinners. So everybody in the team goes out for dinner and we have dinner together and we talk and we connect and so on. So on the, I think it was the Monday night, Jack, was it Monday or the Tuesday? It doesn't matter which
I've
night.
absolutely no idea.
You have no idea, do you? On the Monday night, knowing how important these team dinners are, Jack and I went to an Irish pub instead. And we had, does anyone else know that in the team, by the way?
Well, they do now. You put it on the
Anyway,
internet.
they're probably not watching. So we went to an Irish pub for some important marketing related conversations with Jack in his role as head of marketing at Rebel Soul. And then it seemed like a really good idea to see how much pierogi. Now, if you've never been to Poland or eaten Polish food, they're like these kind of dumplings with different fillings. They're like mini dumplings, right? I think we tried every single flavor of pierogi that's
Really
ever
from the
been
start.
invented in the space of about 90 minutes. I didn't need to have any food until yesterday, actually, and this was said for 3 weeks ago. Over pierogi, we had a conversation about content, right? And it's not the first conversation we've had about content. So whilst Jack and I are staring at each other romantically over pierogi and washing it down with a little bit of Polish water, the conversation was the kind of conversation that I think we've had since, I don't know, 2016,
Yeah.
which is along the lines of let's do a thing that's different to all the other things that we do. And then here we are. So, Jack, like the bit that I wanted to get from you, because the thing that I love about this is that you and I we share lots of film clips and comedy, stand-up comedy and stuff like that, and podcast episodes and video podcasts. We're always sharing that stuff. What do you want this to be? Do you know yet?
No, but I
Brilliant.
think
Well, thanks for watching,
that's the
everybody.
joy of it.
And
Yeah, thanks for coming. I think that's the joy of this that like you said, we've spoken about this, what this could be and what it might look like for actually years now. Partly, like this is as far as we've got. The fact that we've hit live, we've come very far in the past couple of years. Um, but we want to build a show that excites us to run and to do, but also a show that people want to watch. We have people here. That's a very good place to start.
it's a great
We want to
start.
make
They
sure
might not
that,
be here in 3 minutes' time, but at least they're
yeah,
here right now.
stop
Hello,
talking.
everybody.
um, so I think that's where the mini experiment show came from. Like this whole thing, every single element of it is an experiment. We don't know what we want it to look like. how long it's going to be, how often, is it the name of the show, what does the segment look like? We're just giving it a go because, well, partly that's what we teach, Simon. I don't know if you know this for the past
This is
10
one of the
years.
most annoying things about Rebel. I don't know. I can. There are so many times when I've been stood up presenting the course, and someone asks a question, and I give them some advice, and the advice that I'm giving them, and I just have this. You've seen it happen. I have this brain freeze and go, "Oh, that's what we need to do." So, and I guess like we'll break this down into the steps that we've taken. Jack, I'm really tempted to ask you to show your setup right now, but I think that's going to really upset your mojo. So, Jack, will you promise to post a picture of, just in the true spirit of mini experiment, please post a picture of your setup in the chat?
to
Because, guys,
to
I saw it this morning and I'm like, I don't think this is going to last 90 minutes. I think the whole thing is going to come down. But anyway,
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's familiar with the game Jenga, but that's what's going on just behind the scenes. It might, I've put a plant here to give the false impression that it looks like we know what we're doing, but they
is there
are,
someone holding it underneath or is
I
it on a
think there's
table?
about 17 DVDs with a camera mount on top of it. So if anything happens and someone has to take over, that's what happens. I've lost the game of digital Jenga.
Very good. In the true spirit of done is better than perfect, we've just got this done, and you might have seen my picture in the group. I've got my camera clipped to a back to front music stand. I've got my old table that everything's perched on. If, by the way, if the door goes, I'm trapped in this seat. I can't get out. I'm wedged in. So, in the true spirit of mini experiments, we're going to talk a little bit more about what that is, so you can get a sense of how you can apply some of this stuff to your own business ideas and the stuff that you're working on. Done is better than perfect. We just got it done. So whilst we're sat over pierogi, Jack put something in the calendar. He said, "Well, let's do the first show." And we had this little back and forth. Should we do it in the evening? Because if we do it in the evening, that means we can swear more. And I don't know if that's that important to us. I don't know. It could be. Might be to Henry. Um, or do we do it in the morning? So anyway, we stuck the calendar invite in, and then last week Jack sent me a text, and he went, "So next week we've got something booked in for Friday morning for a show that we said we were going to create that we've been saying for 10 years. Do you want to do it?" And I went, "Yes." So then we had the Zoom call, and then we've made it, and here we are. And we've got a few things to run through. We're going to go through a little bit about mini experiments. We've got some questions which people have posted in the comments over the last week or so. We're going to dive into those. Jack has curated those and has chosen which questions he wants to ask me, and I don't know what they are. So
Surprise.
any anything could happen in that segment. And I think by the end of this, we'll get a better sense of, do we want to do episode two? But we want to know that from you too. We want to know what you want to see in episode two. And if indeed you want to see in episode two, because if you don't, that's also fine. I can go to a cafe instead.
Excellent. I'm just looking. I realize we've got a live chat, Simon. It's all very exciting.
Oh, what?
It's not just us on the Zoom call. There are
Slightly
people
nervous that
saying,
you can see that and I can't.
Mwah. Yeah, we've got lots of viewers, lots of people come saying hi. Shelley has said we've eaten a frog. We've started. Look at
We
us.
have Shelley. That's exactly what we've done. And do you know what? I think paralysis. No, wait, that's the wrong way around. Perfection paralysis has definitely been something that's at play because the more you care about something, the more in your heart it is, the more fear can show up because I don't want to put this in front of anyone yet because it means so much to me. And especially like any of the creatives that are watching this, how many artists have I had conversations with, and you, Jack, over the years who go, like, I'm not very good at selling this, but I will spend 25 hours a day creating it, but I don't really want to put it in front of someone. So us sort of shaping the ideas, and it's been very comfortable for Jack and I to be sat over dinner, over a beer, over Zoom, having back and forth conversations about, oh, that would be really funny if we did this, and that would be really cool if we did that, and then not do anything. So the frog, Shelley, you are absolutely right. The frog had to be eaten.
That was good. Well, yeah, we got lots of people coming in here, people sharing their mini experiments in the past.
Nice.
Naomi's first live show on COVID was hosted on an ironing board and a box.
Outstanding.
I have seen a couple of comments in here We've got a couple of people who are on the Rebel Online course, which we are also running this week,
Right.
which starts in 20 minutes. What I will say, thank you for coming on for a little pre-show.
Yeah.
Uh, but please enjoy. I think today, Simon, is graduation day over on
Is
the
it?
final day.
Nice.
Please make sure when the clock does get to like 9:55, please go and join the course. This will be available to watch after. Please prioritize that if you
Nah,
want.
just stay here with me and Jack. It's fine.
Thanks, Simon.
Yes, you must go and graduate and get the. It's a cool day. Because I thought what you were going to say, Jack, was that it's tax day because that's what we do on Friday sometimes.
New. That's week one. But yeah, we're here to talk about the course. um, for fantastic. So I think like this has been really exciting and a little bit scary to make real. I think to your point, Simon, I've got a rule that I share with mainly myself, but a lot of the team as well, where if it's not in the calendar, it's not real.
That's exactly what made it happen.
I think we have so many of these ideas, and oh, we should talk about that. We should book in a meeting to discuss this. But if there's no action in that moment, the fact that it was and I think we just put it in at that dinner over pierogi as like a holding thing. It wasn't anything
That's all it
official. It
was.
was like block
Yeah.
out the morning. So then when it came around and it was real, suddenly we're like, oh. And then you put a video in the Facebook chat, and I went, oh, like, it's real.
I probably should have told you I was doing that. But hey, look, here's my question to everybody watching. What do you need to put in the calendar now? And it doesn't matter when it is, but commit to something now. Commit, stick it in, whether it's next week, next month, April the 2nd. Suggest you don't do April the 1st because it gives you a get out. April the 2nd, whatever the date needs to be, whatever the action is, what's the thing that you're going to commit to doing? But here's the thing, it's about a commitment. Don't let yourself off the hook. Stick it in the calendar now, now, now. I don't want to keep pointing at this. It's my giant hand on this camera. There we go.
It's quite scary.
Is that a bit, a bit too oppressive?
I think the bigger your hand gets, the more impressive it gets. Um, but yeah, so I guess making it real, and I think we've already started to see partly we've got people here watching. I think there's power in taking the action. So some of you in the group may have got an email from us talking about this. We've got an email letter. We always talking about building the list. We have our own list. We sent this out just going, look, we're running this exclusively in the Facebook group as an experiment. Please come and join in. Simon, we had 150 new member requests for this group in the past 24 hours.
That is wild.
So
That's the power of the action.
there's power in that. Um, just telling people you're doing it, and then committing to it. We're doing the hard bit now. We're actually doing the live show.
And
We're not just going,
75 of them in my family. So
excellent.
I don't know 75 people in my family. It's okay. So I
um,
guess before we dive into the questions, we've got some questions that I know that you've been working on, um, which are making me nervous, frankly. But the mini experiment side of things is the antidote to being stuck. And I think what we've been teaching on the course is a mini experiment methodology. So traditional business says you need a plan before you start, you need money before you start, you need to know what your legal structures are before you start. Like we haven't done any of that stuff in true mini experiment style. We're just going to run a thing and just see if we like it. If we like it, and it works, repeat. If we like it and it doesn't work, repeat with some changes. And this whole thing of figuring out what's the thing that's in your heart that you want to go and put out into the world and do the experiment as quickly as possible. And I think that's what's got us to this point. And we've got a plan, we've got a structure, we've got some ideas. For every one idea that we've got for this show, we've got about another 100. And you know, we've got to start somewhere. So that's why we're here. So Jack, shall we
yeah,
move into the questions?
I
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that's a very good place to start. Like, where did mini experiments start for you? I know it's been a big part of Rebel for a while, but I suppose like, what is it? Where did it start? Where did it all come from?
Business plans, funding, and legal structures put people off. They create more barriers to starting. And I think what we understood back in the day, the things that hold people up are fear, money, and knowing what to do and how to do it. So what the mini experiment did for me back in the day was it just simplifies everything. I don't need to, have your big vision. And I got, oh, I dream of it being like this. I dream of it being like that. But it's too complex. There's too many steps. There's too many unknowns because actually you don't really know if it's going to work or if you're going to like it until it's actually real. You know that analogy of being in a sports stadium, you're going to sit in the stands for a long time, but it will never, you might think you know what it might feel like, but you'll never know what it will actually feel like until you're stood on the pitch with 80,000 people screaming at you, right? So I'm not saying that's going to happen here, Jack, but well, you never know. So for me, the mini experiment really simplifies, and it says, and our model basically says, what's the thing that I want to do? One product, one service, one idea. What's that one thing? Who is the person or people most likely to want it? And what action can I take right now that doesn't cost me any money to make it real? And that's where we start talking about bootstrapping and not spending any cash, using stacks of CDs like Jenga to balance your microphone. Because we don't need, I meet lots of people that say, oh, I need my setup before I can launch my podcast. Well, if you could see the fact that I'm trapped in by my legs here, you'll realize that you don't need the perfect setup to get started, right? So the mini experiment methodology is about simplifying. It's about focus on the what and the who and focus on the action that you're going to take. And Alan used to say to me back in the day, so Alan Donegan's a co-founder of Rebel. Alan used to say to me, and I got to say, Jack, how much I enjoy it when he says this to me. It's one of my favorite things that he says. He says to me, I want that picture that we've got, of the giant Alan. I kind of see that, like, scary Alan. He says to me, stop thinking, start doing. Stop thinking, start doing. And as someone who was a former Olympic team captain in the overthinking team, that was really hard for me to. I've actually got a medal. We got a
Excellent.
bronze, yeah, and then two golds. So the that thing, like most of us, and I'll talk about this a little bit later before we finish, but most of us are probably thinking about it a little bit too much in whatever way, and it's the action that causes the excitement to happen, or it's the action that makes you go, oh my God, that was awful, I'm never going to do that ever again. But both bits of feedback are useful. All the while you're on the stands, you'll never get that feedback. So mini
Hey,
experiment is rubber on the road, skin in the game. Off we go. Let's go, Jack.
let's go. And that's it. I think that's why we called this the mini experiment show for
It's a great
for
name. I don't know where
for
that
all of
came
those
from.
reasons. Um, yeah, we're just giving it a go. So thank you. The reason we wanted to run this in our Facebook support group is we have always said that the support group for those that attend our course is a safe, closed, private space tucked away somewhere on the internet where you can ask for advice, you can get feedback, you can get exactly what you need without the outside world seeing. If you've got questions about your business, questions about a customer, questions about whatever, the Facebook support group is a place that you can go to ask the questions away from the outside world. And that's exactly what we're doing this in the group. We want
Jack,
to
you're
get
making me
your feedback.
emotional.
You're welcome. There's 7,000 members in this group, Simon.
I'm less emotional now. I'm slightly scared again.
Good. We're
I
back
go
in the
down.
room. But that's partly why we wanted to run this for you guys. We could have put this on YouTube. We could have made it a ticketed thing, but we just want to run it and get feedback from our community on this. And because of that, that's where we announced it. We asked for your questions, and Simon, to your point, I've collected a couple of the questions for you to jump into. So the first comment that jumped to mind was from Kerry, who is a long-standing
Okay.
attendee and member of the Rebel community. Um, Kerry has said, I have many creative ideas. I research so much. I go down rabbit holes of things I need before I start. I have everything I need, but then I lose my ability to launch for fear that it will either fail and I look stupid for trying or be too busy and you won't cope with the influx of sales and work commitments. How do you get around this, Simon? Taking the plunge is scary.
Oh, I love that question, Kerry. Um, I would say I've been in exactly the same spot about 11 times in my life. And so what I know to be true, Kerry, is that actually let me ask you a question. Actually, I'm going to ask Jack a question. Jack, how many butts have you got?
Simon, it's not that kind of live stream.
Oh, we'll save that segment for the nighttime show that we'll do. The point I'm making is that if Jack, I'm assuming you have only one butt, and
Yes.
I don't really know any more detail than that. But if you've got more than one horse, you're going to find it really difficult to enjoy the riding that you can go and do this afternoon, right? So if you've only got one butt, stop trying to ride two, three, four, five horses. You ride one horse at a time. And the horse that you choose, this is a metaphor, Jack. I'm not actually
Yeah,
talking.
I don't have a horse. Does that mess up your metaphor?
Did you think of that on the hoof, Jack?
Let's
So
not
the
do this.
point I'm making is, first this, then that. That's my first gift, Gary, is first this, then that. How do you choose which horse you're going to ride? Well, if you're caught up in research, you're filling your brain with more information. The more information you have, the harder it is to have clarity on what it is that's in your heart that you really want to do. So, a little bit like the famous businessman Napoleon said, do you know what I really love? When something comes out of my mouth, I know Jack so well that there's a very subtle facial expression, which is something on the lines of, "Oh God, Grandad's lost his mind again. He's lost control of his face." Right. Anyway, I'll recap. Napoleon, right? Stick with me. There's a point to this. Napoleon, before he went into battle, right, he used to go for a walk in the woods. Right, and all of his, top generals, the senior leadership team of Napoleon's army, they were sat around thinking, right, we've got this big battle tomorrow against our mortal enemies. We need to be planning our strategy. And they'd be looking around saying, well, where's the boss gone? Where's Naps, as they used to call him? And Naps had gone for a walk, right? And the reason this is important, this is the important bit. I can't keep a straight face now because you're laughing at me. The important bit is he used to say, I'm waiting for inspiration to strike me in my mind's eye. Sorry, what, Napoleon? What do you mean? You've gone for a walk, waiting for inspiration. We're supposed to be planning our battle. What he's talking about is an insight, is wisdom. It's what's in your heart. It comes out of nowhere without me getting too woo-woo about it. So actually, one of the best gifts that you can give yourself whilst you're figuring out which business idea, which horse to back, one of the best gifts you can give yourself is just to let go. Just relax. Take a deep breath, go for a walk. I know you're not too far from the sea, Kerry. Go for a walk on the beach and just let go of the idea of having to figure it out. Okay? Now, it's a balance. Like, yes, I'm looking for insight and wisdom. I'm looking for a feeling. What makes me feel really good? If I was to fast forward, you know, a year's time, what do I want to have happen? What's my dream? What would be amazing? And then we can start making some decisions based on the insights that come up from that feeling. Okay, so step one, relax. It'll come to you. Don't worry. You're exactly where you need to be. It's part of the process is to have lots of ideas. If you had no ideas, that would be a disaster, right? So you've got a load of ideas. That's great. We're searching for a feeling in our heart of which one lights us up the most, which one would be most exciting for us to do. And then once we've got sort of a direction of travel, we can then say to ourselves, well, if this one's really exciting for me, how can I structure this and how can I do this in a way I can do it very cheaply? How can I do it in a way that gets it in front of someone very quickly? How can I get out there and test my idea? How can I run a mini experiment? How can I do my version of a stack of CDs, two cassette tapes, delicately balanced like a game of Jenga, like Jack's mini experiment for this? Okay, so it is about focus, but just relax first. Just relax and feel your way into it. That's what I want to say. Just breathe your way into it. Allow your wisdom to start giving you the feedback of which of your ideas excites you the most, and then go and talk to people about it. And that's really it. I mean, I think one of the things that Alan keeps saying to me, he said that sometimes I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, which is go and talk to someone about a business idea. Just go talk. Just go talk. And who knows what comes from that, right? So hopefully you found some solace in that. And Jack, have I answered the question? Or have I gone off on a massive tangent? And you're like, I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm in awe, as I'm sure many of the live viewers are, that 2 minutes ago we were on a story where you gave Napoleon a nickname and somehow brought it back to quite an impressive business lesson. I really thought we were off, but you kind of brought it back. So yeah.
I think I'm hallucinating. I've got this episode is being sponsored by Jakeman's. It's not, by the way, but we should give them a call.
Oh,
Throat and chest lozenges. What's in these lozenges?
oh dear.
Dear me.
Kerry's follow-up question, I think, is just as impactful, and I know that everyone wants to
Follow
know
up.
our answer.
You need a follow up after that. Well, go on. What you
Well, she
got?
asks, "What's Rebel's favorite pie?" which which might be my favorite second question of the comments.
Can you
Kerry
just
has
give me
said
a
thank
moment?
you in the comments. I don't know yet whether that is in reply to your answer or for me asking the pie question.
Um, Jack, I don't know what to say. Mince. That's what I'm going to say.
Oh, I really went like savory for a moment.
Oh
Oh,
no
that's
no
quite a
no.
good one.
Yeah. People that follow me on Facebook know that mince pies happen around September. That's when mince pies get back in the game.
Yeah, how do you feel that we spend our entire year marketing, promoting these fantastic courses that help hundreds of people, and the most social engagement that you got last year was on a post about mince pies?
Ladies and gentlemen, how social media works. Lesson one. Literally, I tell you what, that has been I did it, I sent a tweet in 2000 and something when I was on it. And I sent this tweet, and it was about how this business course had had life-changing impact on somebody, and here's a link to sign up. Guess how many bits of engagement I got off of that magnificent life-changing tweet about a free business course that could change people's lives? That's right, none. I sent a second tweet that said, my 3-year-old son just told me to chill out, and that was my most engaged tweet of that year. That's how social media works. And then people go, well, what's that got to do with business? Nothing. But what it does do is it gets you attention. So if you've got your bio and your link in the thing, suddenly you've got 150 people looking at your thing. A percentage of those is going to be curious enough to click the link and then visit your website. How do I know this to be true? Because I haven't done it for ages. And I know that it works because the second most engaged post of 2025 so far is me asking for cold remedies last night.
Right, right. Thank you for that segue, Simon. Everyone at home, I've got a bone to pick with you. We put up multiple posts about this and asking for your questions. And then last night, someone puts up a post about his cough remedies, which got more engagement than anything else we put out for the show. So I don't have loads of questions. We've got enough for this show, but I do have about 85,000 comments on why drinking honey tea helps with a sore throat. So that's where the engagement's coming, and that's what episode 2 is going to look like.
Keep talking for a minute.
Excellent. I'm going to talk about the fact that my favorite pie, my favorite pie. I'm glad you asked the question, Simon.
Oh
Is
yes, I'm curious to know, Jack. What's
is
your
what
yeah?
came to my mind was like a chicken and ham like pub pie, not sweet. I don't know what that says about me, and I know this is what people have tuned in to really understand. But yeah, an idea of a nice warm, savoury chicken and ham pie.
Jack, the internet is literally falling over with that insight, and thank you very much for sharing.
I just saw the comments going at the corner of my eye, and I'm assuming that's about the pie comment. But
What's
anyway,
your favorite pie, internet? We want to know your favorite pie.
business advice and pies at the Rebel Business School. Moving on to the next question, Simon. Marie has put a question in the comments for us. She said, "What do you do when other family members are not as pumped up as you, and you want to work on your business, but they want your focus instead?"
Okay, it's two parts to this answer. Part A is don't do what I did. Part B is do what I'm about to say. So the don't do what I did bit is my ex never really signed up for me being an entrepreneur. That was just the next natural thing to happen, and it put our family under a lot of strain actually in the early days because I left the best job I ever had, earning the most money I'd ever earned, drinking cocktails in Singapore, and I swapped it for a community centre in North London in 2015. And my ex and some of my friends were like, "You've done what?" So the thing that I didn't do was have a proper enrollment conversation. So I think if you're getting some pushback from family members or disinterest or sometimes hostility, I get it. I understand that because it's you've chosen the rebel's path. The rebel's path that can be a bit of a bumpy journey. It's not, you can let go of the idea that money is going to come in the exact amount of money every month that you want and need, and there will be never be any fluctuations in that. That's a thing of the past. We're now going to have choppy periods. There's going to be periods where you have to work really hard. There's going to be periods where you want to give it all up and you're fed up. I had one of those about every 6 weeks, actually, up until Wednesday. So actually, that's quite tough for a partner to, or for other family members to understand, and parents as well. I mean, my mum, bless her, my mum's 82. She still says to me sometimes, she said, "I'm really upset that you left your career." Uh, and I said, "Why is that, mum?" She said, "Well, you were doing so well." And that was, I left in 2003. So that's, what's that, 22 years ago. And I'm like, "Mum, we've got a business in 11 countries. It's going okay now." But, the thing about family is because we're close to them, actually, it can be really, really impactful. It can be really difficult to make progress on your business if you're getting some negativity, some pushback, some barriers, or disinterest, or however that plays out for you. Right. So there's a couple of things I think into this. The first thing is about enrollment. Let me explain what I mean about enrollment. That's when you sit down with someone and you tell them the truth. Okay. And it comes from the heart and you have their undivided attention and you sit with them and you are so present with them that like your life depends on it. And you look them in the eyes and you place a hand on their shoulder if you want to and say, "Look, I know that this isn't something, I get the sense that this isn't something that you're excited about right now, but I have to tell you, the truth is, I must try this for myself. I've been thinking about it for so long. It's in my heart. It would mean the absolute world to me. This feels like my life's purpose, and I might get it wrong. I might make mistakes, and it's going to be hard. But what I really want to know from you is that you understand. You're not asking anything for them apart from you understand. I need you to know that, and you understand that how important this is to me to give it a try. I accept that it might not excite you, but I have to go and do this for myself to find out if it's going to happen. And I understand, and I'm sorry that that might be uncomfortable for you, because you had other ideas. You want me to do this, you want me to do that. I understand that might be uncomfortable for you. I understand your opinion might be I'm doing the wrong thing, but I must go and do this for myself. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. I've got to do this. I just wanted you to know. And then you don't speak because then the first one to speak loses, right? So then you, Jack, your eyes were so wide. Then you went into dinner plate mode. You're like, "Oh my god."
I had a thought of like without this becoming a therapy session. It sounds like you've rehearsed that before. So
Well, Jack, um, actually, no, and I think that's part of the problem. So, so I think like the bit for me is it doesn't really matter exactly getting the words right. I think that's an important bit. What matters is that they hear your heart. That's what I mean by enrollment. They leave that conversation in no doubt whatsoever. And this, by the way, this is very different to going, "I'm going to go and run my business and I don't care what you think. And I wish you would support me. I can't believe you're not supporting me." My version of that, an enrollment, is I just want you to hear my heart. I'm kind of doing a marketing job on them, really. I'm getting their attention. I'm making this interesting. I'm creating an emotional connection, and then I'm taking action. But I'm not asking for them to do anything. I'm just letting you know this is what's in me and I'm going to go and do it. And I'm not even asking for support. I'm just asking them to give me 10 minutes so I can tell you something. That's how I would approach that. And the second part to that is to accept and not to have opinions or judgments or expectations of them. If you've got opinions and judgments and expectations of how they should be behaving, then you're meeting them in the same place they're coming at you. Right. So let go of your opinions, judgments, and expectations and have compassion for them because they're probably scared. They're probably coming from a place of love and fear for you. And they've got your best interests at heart. It's just playing out in maybe some negativity that you don't need in your life right now. Sorry. So, I'm going to take responsibility for sharing what's in my heart and telling my truth. And I think you'll be amazed about the results. Answers on a postcard. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to find out. Who was that asked the question, Jack? Whose question was that? Marie.
Marie's question.
Marie. That's a really, really brilliant question, Marie, and one that we don't talk about enough at Rebel, actually.
Mm.
So I want that to be in our course more. I need to write that down, Jack.
Excellent. We have this
Because if it's
discussion at
not
least
written
four
down,
times a
it's not going
week.
to happen, is it?
Yeah, put it in the calendar somehow. I don't know how that works.
I'm going to call
What?
that Marie's Law.
Marie's law. Hang on,
Uh,
hang on.
the enrollment of things and stuff in families.
While you're writing that down, Simon, I've just looked into some of the live comments we've got coming through. People are loving that answer. Teresa in the chat has said, "Thank you, Rebel, for doing this mini experiment. She's been out of touch with Rebels for over 2 years, and this live experiment has got her engaged again. Please keep going."
Yes, Teresa.
She has to go for a meeting, but she's going to catch up later.
Beautiful.
Everyone, do the mini experiment. It's worth it. I
Do
promise.
I need to mute while I blow my nose again, Jack? Or do you want me to go full trumpet mode? Because I can't
Um,
breathe, by the way.
yes,
This
please mute.
reminds me of COVID. Do you remember when we were doing the live streams in COVID?
I do remember the live streams in COVID. I can't believe we got through them.
Can we talk about them?
I can you remember them? They feel like a little bit of a blur to me.
For various reasons, my memory is a little hazy of those. But just for very quick context, we lost £250,000 in 2 hours. We were panicked about 5, 6 years. Jack, have you gone? Come back.
Why did you bring that up? Why did you
That's
bring that up?
basically almost what happened. It was like, oh, we were almost. And 2 weeks before lockdown, I had a very difficult conversation with my ex about separating. Then we went into lockdown. Then I got COVID. Then we thought we really need to be out there and supporting rebels. So Jack and I decided to do 2 live stream shows a week on Facebook, which had varying degrees of success, I would
I
say.
I can remember where it came from. Again, I think it was. I suppose you could call it a mini experiment. But it was also a. I remember having a discussion of like we don't have a choice. I remember the first one we ran was me, you, and Alan, and it was an antidote for. And apologies if this wakes up any demons for people. Those daily press conferences in the UK
Oh God,
of
yeah.
like those of doom and gloom. The first live stream was our antidote to that. It was going like, look, we're going to run these once a week, twice a week, whatever it turned into, just to inspire, motivate, encourage, keep going. Because everyone that wanted to tune into BBC One at 4 p.m. just got the worst update in the world. That's where it turned into. I think we ran it for the best part of 3, 4 months, twice a
Yeah, we
week.
had a lot of guests on. Um, let's not talk about Brad's one, and let's move on. That's going to
Oh
put me in a
goodness!
bad
Oh
state.
goodness! I'll give you another one of Marie's questions, and I think this is an interesting one to unpick. Um, she's asked, "How does gender come in to starting a business?
Oh
Is it
wow,
easier for a man to set up a business than a woman?"
wow.
Mm.
Okay, so that question is like, let's be two white guys answering the question about
Yeah,
whether it's
I'm
easy for men
hyper
to
aware
start a
of the
business.
irony, but I still wanted to give you the the
Yeah.
question.
Okay, so let me give you my take on this. I don't have the stats to hand, right? But at the opposite end of business to where we play. So we're all about grassroots kitchen table businesses, helping people that have never had a business before, or maybe they have, but they've struggled or they've not got the one running how they want it to run. And we say to people, you don't need money to start a business, right? So that's at the end of the business that Rebel plays. There's the opposite end of the business, which is unicorn hunting, right? So this is about business owners and founders who go for investment. So they pitch to investors to get thousands, if not millions of pounds to do a startup, right? Now, what I know to be true, because I had this conversation about 3 days ago, is that at the investor end of business, it is a highly male dominated arena. Okay, so statistically, it's in the high 90s of percent of founders that are successful in getting rounds of investment. It's one of the biggest issues in that part of business. Okay, so if you're someone who's going for investment, it's a fact. It's easier for men. Fact, right? An uncomfortable fact, and it's uncomfortable for a lot of people in that investment space that have woken up to what's really happening there, right? Because there are some fantastic, very talented female founders who are just not getting any investment at all. Okay, so that's that end. The opposite end of the end that we play at, and I'm very proud in this statistic that 70% of our audience for Rebel Business School courses are female. Why is that? I don't know. Well, I got a few clues. What I think is going on here is that because our course is about empowerment, not about barriers, it's about empowerment, it means that and this is what this is all about, really. The very first mission that we had, and we've changed the wording a lot now, and the business has evolved. Our very first mission was about democratizing entrepreneurship. It was about saying, the entry point for starting a business needs to be the same for everybody. So how do we do that? Well, we teach the mini experiment model because it empowers people. We bring people together of all different ages, walks of life, cultural backgrounds. Like some of the things that I've loved about our courses over the years is the absolute ridiculous diversity in the room. We've had Iranian people sat next to Palestinians, sat next to Israelis, sat next to Russians. We've had Russians and Ukrainians at the start of the war. We're in our building at 470 Harrow Road in our co-working space, laughing, joking, and building businesses together. And to me, I get goosebumps thinking about that. The youngest participant we've had is 13. And I never forget, she was from Kent, and her business idea was upcycling furniture to sell to Airbnb owners on the Kent coast. I mean, this girl was ridiculously smart. She built a website faster than me while I was doing the demo,
Yeah,
right?
that
So
sounds right.
we've had her, and we've had James Kelso, the artist from Oxfordshire. I think he's 84. He would say, like, I'm living proof that you can teach an old dog new tricks, and everybody in between. Any single one of us can find ways that it will be harder for us to start a business because. Okay. Now, what I'm going to invite you to think about is, what strengths have I got and what can I leverage? And our empowerment is about saying it's never been more possible to start a business for free than right now in 2025. The best time to start a business was 10 years ago. The second best time is yesterday. Third best time is today. Right? So it's never been more possible. The free tools are out there, and it's possible for us to build a business that we want to build that meets our needs and fits in with our lives. And I think of some of the parents that have started business. I can remember starting a business when it was this business, and my little one was born in, when was he? He was about 2, 3 months old when I came back to Rebel in 2015. And he would like clamber all over my laptop. I was on 2 hours sleep, and I don't even know how I did it, but you just do it. So you build a business that's in your heart, and nobody says you have to work 8 till 4, 7 till 6. You can build the business that you want. And I think the other thing, and like mini soapbox moment, Jack, you'd be like, oh my God, granddad's going off again,
Uh-oh.
right? Yeah, the thing's supposed to finish at 11, but I couldn't shut him up, right? Do not let him have throat lozenges ever again, right? So here's the other bit. Now, Kim, who used to be in the Rebel team, Kim went to a meeting in a certain county south of London, and she was talking to a bunch of people in the room about delivering a free business course for the community in a certain four-letter county, right? Which I'm not going to mention because it's not fair. Kent. right? So she was delivering this thing, and she was doing the pitch for Rebel, and someone asked the question. They said, "Can you tell me about the sort of businesses that you start?" And she gave a rundown. She said, "We got such a broad range of people. We got people running yoga classes. We've got dance teachers. We've got life coaches. We've got woodworkers. We've got mechanics and people that make food and cakes and." Etc. And she gave this long list of different types of businesses. And these are the words that came back to her. Oh, so it's not proper businesses then, right? When she told me that, I almost lost a rib. Like I was raging so much, right? And but also that's validation for me as to why Rebel Business School is here. Now, traditional slash investor type businesses, there is definitely, I'm sad to say, there is definitely a prejudice towards men by the very nature of the demographics of those who deliver those services, right? But the opposite end, what Rebel talks about empowerment. You build the business that you want, and you can call it whatever you want, and you can run it whenever you want, and you can make whatever money you want. Doesn't matter if you make. Some people that we've met through the program make £100 a week through a side hustle. That's a life-changing number for them. That's not for us to judge and go, well, that should be a high scale, high growth, schmoth, bedoth business. Like, shut up, right? Jack, I need to go and have a lay down.
Oh
Nurse,
no, what have we done?
medic.
What have we done?
Okay, have I answered what was the question? Okay, so let me tie a bow around it, right? Let me tie a bow around it, and then I'll shut up. Unlikely, but I will tie a bow around it. So the whole thing about gender is there are barriers to many people to start a business. Some of those barriers are hidden, we don't see them, and some of them are obvious. What Rebel is all about, and what my advice would be, is forget the barriers. When someone tells you no, say, we'll see about that. You go build the business that you want. Follow the mini experiment methodology, and it will help you navigate those barriers because it makes you focus, and it focuses on what you're selling, who you're selling it to, and the action that you can take. And if it's coming from your heart, you will make it happen.
We need to get you a mic to drop at the end of every, not the one you're using, because
It's really expensive. I really like
yeah,
this mic.
yeah, maybe a cheap one. Um, no, I love that. It reminds me, like we get the question quite often. Not just when we're talking about the course and pitching it, they go like, "What success stories have you got?"
Oh yeah.
I hate that question because
Oh,
it's
so do
like
I.
because I love kind of batting it back and going like, well, what does success mean? I know what they think success means, but to your point, a success isn't only kind of locked in by the fact that you're earning millions or you've made. I was about to say make the next Facebook, but nowadays it doesn't even necessarily mean success. It could mean a little bit of extra money a week. It could mean being able to take the family on holiday, whatever that means. And we've got, and if that's the case, from our definition of that word, we have thousands of success stories.
Yeah, right. And you've just reminded me of Sonia, Sonia from Kent. So when someone says, I came to the rebel school, and as a result of that, my kids and now my husband are also experimenting with business ideas. To me, it's irrelevant whether you're employing people, whether you've grown your business. That's how society views a successful business as one that grows and creates jobs. Whereas I've got a different view. That's one definition of success, but that's only if that represents success for the individual that's doing it. What represents success for the individual of doing it, which is empowerment, some extra money, different conversations with my family, showing my kid. Like that was one of the reasons I started a business. I wanted to show my kids that it was possible to create something for yourself. That's success to me. Am I flying around? I was going to say, am I flying around in yachts? But I don't think that's
That
how
would be a
yachts.
success.
That's not how yachts work, is it? Um, but no, I'm not flying around in yachts or sailing in planes. However, I'm successful because I get to hang out with you talking nonsense,
And
like
this
in
live
this moment
stream,
of our podcast, for
this
example.
live stream is brought to you by
Jack,
Throat
bring us back.
Lozenges.
I need
um,
another lozenge. Give us
oh
a
no,
lozenge.
oh no. Um, wow. So the comments the comments coming through. and on the questions
Fine.
that we've asked. They're making me hungry, Simon. Marie's third and final question. Pancake Day is fast approaching. Are we traditionalists with sugar and lemon at the Rebel team, or do we have posh toppings?
You strike me as a posh topping sort of guy.
Well, I don't. What would you see?
That's an important question, by the way.
Yeah, 100%.
I love how we've gone for gender equality in business in the UK to pancake toppings
I
in
was really hoping you wouldn't
it's
point this out.
a seamless segue. What was the
Um,
question?
well,
Pancakes.
what would you count as a posh topping?
Anything that isn't lemon and sugar.
Oh, okay. Um, I lemon and sugar is the way to go. But I have recently discovered Biscoff spread, which is my kryptonite.
That
So
sounds deadly.
yeah, yeah.
Biscuit.
As someone that has a nut allergy, I can now understand when people go like they have a little bit of peanut butter from the jar. I've kind of gone like that's weird, and then I've discovered Biscoff spread, and I get it now.
Yeah,
I get
okay,
it.
I hear you. Okay, so when I make pancakes for the kids, I made the mistake of putting a choice of toppings on the table. So I did have the traditional lemon and sugar because, like, one of my boys, Harry, likes the lemon and sugar. I also put some Nutella and I put some golden syrup, which, by the way, is my weapon of choice. So the kids put all of it on the same pancake, and I'm like, what are you what are you doing? You don't put lemon, sugar, Nutella, and golden syrup on one pancake. That, to me, like, this is just disastrous. This is like storing up future health problems. What are you doing? You choose one of those things. And they said that it was fantastic, but I think that's a bit strange. So there we go.
They're my heroes. But I've just seen Shelley has just commented. So Shelley is doing the Rebel Online course at the moment. Shelley has snuck back in for 5 minutes while they're doing the survey. And
Nice.
I
Kelly,
really
you're
love
a
the
legend.
idea that Shelley's gone, how are Jack and Simon getting on? We're chatting about pancakes. Sorry, Shelley. Good to see
He came for some really good content, and all she got was pancake toppings.
you. Love that. So I've got a couple more coming up. We've got about 40 minutes or so left. Um, Kerry has been in the comments. She's watching us live. Obviously, we spoke about Kerry's bit earlier. She wanted to get a bit more clarity on the final part of her question, which was, what if she gets too busy?
Oh, right, nice.
Like, I suppose, and that is a that question comes up quite a lot at the
It
courses.
does.
It's just as debilitating as getting started in the first place. But obviously, it's one of those. It's a very nice problem to have. But yeah, like
Yeah.
where does your brain go to what?
Yeah.
Why are we
Okay.
too busy,
So
Simon?
you actually want to know where my brain goes to, Jack? That's
Whoa,
a
whoa,
dangerous
whoa, whoa, whoa,
question.
whoa. Let's box it in.
Okay. So my brain goes to many places. Let me choose the ones that are appropriate for this podcast. So the okay. So that question comes up a lot, and when it first came up in the early days, I was like, why would that be a thing? Isn't that the whole point? Um, and then I started to understand the question more deeply, and then I realized it's actually a fear that most people have. They just don't always articulate it, right? Or maybe it doesn't always seem so much of a thing. Okay, but I've experienced it myself since then. So now I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. Right. So let's talk to this then. So the fear of getting too busy. Now, here's the thing that I think is behind that. It's the fear that I won't be able to handle it if it gets too busy. Okay, so and what I know to be true is you absolutely can handle it if it gets too busy. You absolutely can. And the reason I know this let me give you a few reasons. Number one, you're a human being, and I had a fear that I would not be able to run a business with a baby in the house because operating on night, like, he didn't sleep for like 2.5 years. My other two children slept. They slept like babies. Who invented that expression? Right. Anyway, I digress. Right. So I had this fear that I wouldn't be able to do this thing, but you just do. And like, Kerry, you're a parent. Nobody gives us the handbook, do they? And we don't really know what we're doing. My kids, well, one of them's old enough now, but the other two are, they haven't quite figured out that I've got no idea what I'm doing yet. So the little one, he's still my best friend. He still thinks I walk on water. This is all good. The 16-year-old is like, yeah, I don't think he knows what he's doing, actually. The 21-year-old is absolutely certain I've got no idea what I'm doing. But we just cope. We just do it. Okay. So at that level, I know you're gonna be fine. Okay. You'll figure it out. But the other reason why this is tricky is because it's a bit like that game, Pin the Tail on the Invisible Donkey, right? Have you played that game, Jack?
Not very well.
It was one of Napoleon's games, actually. Like
Oh, good old
Naps
naps.
used to play this with the generals quite regularly. Um, so what am I saying? That's not real, right? You can't solve a problem that's not real.
Mm.
So when it becomes real, you'll know what to do. It'll become clear to you. Like, for example, you'll say things like, "Hey, I'm fully booked. I can't actually do that until March. Sorry." You get to choose how busy you are. And I know there's always that balance of making ends meet, paying the bills, and as business owners and entrepreneurs, we may occasionally take on too many things. I mean, Jack, how long have you known me? You've known me uh, since you were 9 when you joined the team. Uh, so you know that I have a propensity to take on a little bit too much. I know there's at least 5 people probably watching now that go, they're nodding at the camera, going at the screen, going, "Yes, he does do too much, doesn't he?" By the way, one of the cold remedies was to put Vicks Vapor Rub on your feet. Discuss.
What?
Yeah, I know. That's what I did too. So the fabulous person that sent me that message, love that
Did they
answer.
read it that your
Bit
feet were
weird.
cold? What's going
Yeah,
on?
I don't know what's going on. I tell you what, though, it was like the bolero in my kitchen as I was scooching across to make a drink with a flourish and a double pike to end. I don't know if you do that in nice
Menthol.
or not. Yeah. Anyway, what was the question?
What if you get too busy and
Oh
talking
yeah, yeah, yeah.
about
What if you get too busy? Right.
Bolero?
So you, yeah. How long have we got? Right.
Uh,
So there's another 48 questions, everybody. So don't worry. Like we're going to push on through till dawn. Lock in. Let's go. So if you get too busy, what is too busy? Too busy is different for you than it's different for me. We probably are going to take on too much, but we have got choices. We can manage our time. You can put in contingency plans. You can have conversations with customers and say, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I know I said I'd come around next Friday, but it's not going to happen. I'm so busy right now." Or you hire someone, or you rope in your partner or the kids. We'll figure it out, but you can't figure out a problem that isn't real. So when the problem becomes real, then you'll get help, you'll manage your customers, you'll text Rebel, you'll put something in the support group, you'll figure it out. I know for a
wow.
fact that you can handle it, and that's it.
No, I love that. I've just seen Angie, who is running the Rebel Online course, is in the comments. We really have birthed
Love you,
a group of
Angie.
rebels. Hi, Angie. Sorry for sorry for stealing the audience. We've been telling them to go to you. Hello.
Definitely do
Um,
that. Go to Angie and get your graduation.
it's going to be a very exciting day. The comments have completely lost the plot. They're talking about putting onions on children's feet to stop them coughing during the night. I don't know what you've done to the comments, Simon, but here we are. Kerry says thank you. Um, and we've got a couple of more cold remedies for you to check after the call as well.
Echinacea me up, baby. I'm ready.
So we've got a final couple of questions as we approach. We've been here for an hour, Simon. How exciting! Um,
Before the authorities come and shut us down.
the cold authorities, naps is going into. So we've got Liliana, who I've seen is watching live as well. She sent in a couple of questions about her dancing club.
This
Uh,
is something that I'm really good at, Jack. I'll be able to answer this question with a lot of knowledge and intricate detail about dance, as you know.
Fortunately, it's not about dancing, but Liliana, if you're able to gift Simon some classes, it'd be highly appreciated. She asks, I run a dancing club, classes and social dancing. How long will it take for a new dance club startup to break even or to see any profit? How do you get there as quickly as possible? Maybe not specifically for a dance club, unless you have any specific advice, but
Um, I did actually, in all seriousness, I can't believe I'm saying this. In all seriousness, I did actually win a dance competition when I was 10, and I came third in a dance competition when I was about 13 or 14.
this is an exclusive. This is the stuff when we said come and join the exclusive live stream. This is the stuff people came for.
You know that I think I've been running many experiments since I was a teenager. That was a bad idea, right? That was
Yeah, not all of them work.
no. In the safety of a an area where everyone was dancing, competition one, that was a win. In an area where you've got 150 of your peers in a secondary school staring at you, that was a bad move.
Wow.
Literally a bad, in fact, many bad moves strung together and called a routine, actually. Anyway,
That's the start of the Rebel pitch. We talk about how everyone in the team and especially our trainers, we don't have business qualifications. That we've run businesses. That's what makes us qualified to run, and we can teach our successes and failures. But what you can say is, I might not have a business qualification, but I did come first in a dance competition when I was 13.
yeah, it was excellent. Anyway, Jack, enough of this, enough of this talk.
The question: how do you get to profit as quickly as possible?
I love it how you knew the next thing that was going to come out of my mouth was what was the question?
Shut up, keep moving.
Right, Liliana, I am here for you. I am here for you. We're going to crack this. Okay, so getting to profit quickly. A few things go through my mind. Right, the first is you're probably not visible enough if you're not making profit, I would say. That's one potential. Because when I think about profit, it's like it's to me it's a triangle. I'm thinking top of the triangle, sell more. Like, is this about getting more people into the space so that your classes are more full? Okay, so that's the first way to be more profitable. The second way is to charge more. Are you charging enough for your dance classes? Are you about the going rate? Are you a bit too cheap? Are you a bit too expensive or whatever? But if I want to make more money, I could up my prices, even if it's by 50p. Okay, so you up your prices by 50p and you've got 10 students, suddenly you've got another fiver. That's £20 extra a month, and that's £240 a year, right? So don't check that my maths. I think that was right. So the point of this is saying, do I sell more because I need more students? Do I charge more because I'm not charging enough and a little increase can make a difference? Or do I spend less? Am I spending too much money in travel, in room hire, and whatever other costs you've got going on, right? Now, as a combination of those three things can help you to accelerate your profitability. So that's the first part of the answer. So let's break those down. Selling more, often that means that you're just not visible if you haven't got enough people that are attending your dance classes. So how do you get more visible? You've got to get better at marketing. You've got to speak to more people face to face. You've got to do more marketing, which might, for example, be partnering with people. Like, who's already got an audience of people? Can you go and do a free taster session in someone else's community, and then do some kind of, if you sign up to 6 dance classes, then you get X and so on. So being more visible, getting more people in the door, partnering with other businesses, charities, organizations that have already got an audience to fill the rooms. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is, well, do more sessions per week. Okay, so if you're running your dance classes on a Monday night, well, consider opening in a different location on a Tuesday and a different location on a Wednesday. What I would say is, until you've fixed the first dance class and got that running exactly how you wanted it and have learned from that, dance class 2 and 3 will compound your problems if you haven't already solved them. So get the first one running exactly how you want it to run, charging the money that you want to charge, get it nice and full and then open two, three, four. That's how to get, more profitable. One of the most, and I'm sure you've thought about this, but I'll say it anyway, just in case you haven't, or maybe someone else that's watching, it'll be useful for them. Moving people off pay as you go onto direct debit as quickly as possible. Okay, because the more students, attendees that you've got that have signed up for a direct debit, you can wake up on the first of the month already with £1,000 in the bank, and it's down to them whether they show up or not. Okay, so that might be something to consider for you. Uh, so we've got visibility, we've got charging more, we've got opening other nights, we've got the direct debit side of things as well. But what we can also do is look at your costs. Are you paying for room hire? Can you renegotiate room hire? Can you find a space where people can come together and it isn't a community centre where you've got to pay £50 an hour, then it's a different space that you can borrow for free. And actually, that can give you lots of freedom and flexibility to have more interesting spaces that could be restaurants or cafes that are closed at that particular time, or atriums in shopping centres. Like, go have some fun with it. Go make your dance classes in spaces where people wouldn't expect, because you'll be bringing footfall into a space, and that always adds value to the person that runs the building. So those are my headlines, Jack. How does that sound to you?
No, I love that. I feel like I need to start making notes. I don't know about anyone else at home.
I think you need to start dancing. That's what you need to do.
Well, I know some
'Cause
people that
I'm
can
in the
help me.
mood for dancing, Jack.
Yeah, the good news to everyone is you can rewind, and if you're making notes, and you can pause, Simon. Um, no, I think that's great. I love your point on the customer cycle. And I know we talk about that in the course, where I think people get so locked into the headspace of single standalone products that it's like, if you've got, okay, this kind of links back to Kerry's point about like being busy as well, with like, you don't necessarily need to have 200 customers, for example, as a number in the dark to hit your thing. You could have 50 very well engaged customers that aren't just buying standoff, they're buying the monthly memberships or the standalone things. And I know we talk about it. Cakes are always a great example we use in the course, where it's, you can buy cupcakes and you can go up to a birthday cake and then a thing and then a monthly subscription of cakes, and then you can come to a class. There's always another build on that to keep people coming back, because that's a
Bingo.
lot
Bingo.
cheaper and more effective.
So you're absolutely right, Jack. That's brilliant. And I think in addition to the stuff that I've said, that's the stuff that I said is like the basics of good housekeeping. Dial back on your costs, fill the rooms more, maybe open multiple nights and sessions, and look at how much you're charging, because a combination of those three things can transform profitability very quickly. I think, and the direct debit stuff is that sort of really good
Mm.
housekeeping, slick management. The icing on the cake to all of this, pies, pancakes, now we're on to cakes. The icing on the cake of all of this is, once you've got your audience, they will trust you. Okay, so they've trust you enough to give you money, and they keep turning up. That trust equals more profit.
Mm.
And your opportunity is to start thinking about. Do you remember that video that had the word opportunize in it? If you want to opportunize your, which is not a word, uh, if you want to opportunize your dance business, Liliana, once you've got those basic housekeeping bits done, sell more, charge more, spend less, got your direct debits in place, maybe open two or more sessions, you then look at your customers who love you and trust you and like you and keep turning up. That's your community, right? So now what you need to be doing is to think, what other stuff can I sell them that isn't just one dance class a week? So, for example, you could put together a dance weekend. You could put together a tour. You could put together a one-to-one coaching sessions and sell them that. Now, not everyone's going to want all of those things, but 20% of your customers want to buy something else from you, and you just haven't given them the opportunity yet. And this goes to absolutely everybody watching. 20% of your customers will want to buy something else from you, because they know you, they like you, and they trust you, and they kind of starting to love everything that you do. So whether it's, t-shirts and hoodies, clothing, You could sell those to people because they want to be part of that group. We are community animals, like we want connection. It's probably more important than ever. Like when we find our tribe, we want to be part of that group. And I want to wear the t-shirt, the hoodie, and the hat that says the dance troupe, or it's got the slogan, or whatever the catchphrase is that you've got when you do your dance teaching. Turn that into a wearable, sell it to your audience, and then
Mm.
suddenly it's that's the difference between being in business next year and not. It's those extra things that you can upsell and cross sell to me. Thank you
Wow.
for reminding me, Jack.
What can I say?
And we would like to buy those toweling uh, sweatbands that we will wear on one of these episodes, should there ever be another episode that's got Liliana's dance studio written around it. And we can recreate that video. What was that video? Anyway, let's not probably not recreate that video, Jack. It was quite suggestive. It's a
This
bit early
episode
in the
is
morning for
sponsored by Liliana's Dance Club.
that. Love it.
Fantastic. So we've got
Excuse me.
Liliana is a second part to our question, which I think we'll use to finish off this session. But before then, there's been a comment that's come up, but I think kind of helps bridge the two. So we've had Sasha in the comments live has said, "How do you overcome imposter syndrome when you first start out?" She's moving from a big corporate role to a heart-led business.
Beautiful. What a question.
Hmm.
What a question. Jack, I need to prepare for this question.
You're gonna have a. I thought you were leaning over for the lozenge. I don't have another food-based question, but we'll build there. Excellent.
Well, just show us your dance moves, will you?
Oh,
Um,
unfortunately, I can't move the camera. Otherwise, I really would.
right. Okay. So, imposter syndrome. Let's talk to that. Um, so who is it asked that question? Have we got a name?
Sasha in the
Sasha.
chat.
Right. Sasha, thank you for asking the question. Great question. It's something that comes up a lot, a lot, a lot. Right. So, let me talk to you. I have imposter syndrome. How do you know? Where do you keep it? Right. So the first part of this is about just watching out for the story that can really take hold and get a grip. Okay, because maybe you haven't got imposter syndrome. Maybe you're just a little bit fearful because it's a new environment. I meet people that say, no, no, I really have got imposter syndrome, and like they want to hang on to it. Like I've got imposter syndrome, and I'm going to keep hold of it very tightly. Well, I just want to let go of that for a minute because who knows? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. It's perfectly natural, I think, to move from an environment where you've got lots of experience and knowledge and time served and so on, to move from that into something that's new and different. It's absolutely normal to feel apprehensive, a bit scared because it's a comfort zone breach. We're about to do something different. Okay. So that's my first point of this. It's just like that every time you say those words, I have imposter syndrome, what it's like it's like a moving target. Like I want to go and do that thing, but because I've got imposter syndrome, I can't go do that thing. Well, actually you can. Okay, so that's my first thought. My second thought is you don't need to feel great to take the action. Okay, it's also possible for you to feel fearful or to be experiencing what you're calling imposter syndrome and make a phone call, send an email, launch a website, do something on social media. It's absolutely possible to, you don't need to wait for the feeling of feeling good to take action. And I think that was a mistake that I made and I have made repeatedly. I'm just waiting for, yeah, I just want to feel motivated. You don't get motivated to take action, you get motivated by taking action. And that's where the real wins are, is when the rubber hits the road. And the fastest way to get rid of any fear or imposter syndrome is to take action and just accept that it's going to feel a bit choppy. That's just how it is, right? And one of my favorite examples of this is, as Jack, you won't be surprised, and no one else will be surprised to learn. My favorite example of this has got nothing to do with business. So let's talk about Right. Let me tell you about my son, right? So when he was I want to say, are you still there? When he was 5, when he was how do you do that? It was like you levitating because your head was at a perfect angle. Uh, my little one, when he was about 4 or 5, he was doing swimming lessons twice a week. Okay. Private swimming lessons in a small group of 2 or 3 students, and my ex was taking him every week. He was doing his swimming, right? And then I took him to swimming for a weekend, just me and him, and he couldn't swim. And he'd been doing these lessons for 18 months, and they were expensive, right? Why is it that he can't swim? So I know what we'll do. We'll do the Simon Payne swimming technique, which I am indeed not a qualified swimming instructor, where I didn't throw him in the pool, that would be cruel, but I did stand a little bit too far away, or his perception was I was stood too far away, and I was encouraging him to come with me. Like in less than an hour, he was swimming. Why is that? Because he was taking the action. Did he take in gulps of water and sink once or twice just before I was able to lift him out? Yes, that's part of the process. Did he feel like he wanted to swim again in that moment? No. I had to lift him out the pool. We have some deep breaths. We have a hug, and he psychs himself up, and then we go again. So metaphorically speaking, Sasha, get in the pool, right? Go do some stuff, splash about a bit, but you don't have to stay in the discomfort of the pool, taking on gulps of water. You can get out and you can take some deep breaths and, relax, put a blanket around you, drink a hot chocolate and go, well, I'll have another go tomorrow. It didn't feel very nice. And it's not going to feel nice because it's new. And our brains, bless them, are trying to curate this experience of keeping us safe. And that's why you're getting some anxiety because it's new. That doesn't feel safe. I don't know what might happen. You don't need to know. You don't need to know. So, one of the things, my final thought on this, Jack, one of the things that got me into business, I'm not talking about swimming now, by the way. One of the things I'm a terrible swimmer as well. That's the irony of this. I'm like a house brick in a swimming pool. There's so much activity needs to happen right. So the thing that I wanted to say, I've forgotten. What was I going to say, Jack? What was the question?
Was it about swimming? Was it about imposter syndrome? Was it about?
No. Oh, I know what it was. Yeah, thanks. It was nothing that you said, by the way. So what got me into business was almost like reverse imposter syndrome because I was looking around at other people that were doing businesses and I'm like, I think their idea's a bit crap. I think their execution's a bit crap. I think I could work harder than them. I think I'm more committed. I think I'm smarter. That's one of the things that got me into business. So my point of saying that to you, Sasha, is that most people in business are making it up as they go along. That's what business really is because there are so many variables that happen on a daily basis. Who knows how your customer's going to respond? Who knows if there's going to be more competition? Who knows if you're going to enjoy it? Who knows if you're going to hire someone? Who knows what marketing's going to work? We don't know until we do it. So the process of starting and building a business is you're tacking your way basically from one mistake to the next. Like I think, we started Rebel. Alan and I came up with it in 2011, and then since then, I mean, I've lost count of the number of mistakes that I've made on a weekly basis. And the good news is that Jack hasn't lost count, and he's been keeping a very close record of the mistakes that I've made. But that is the process. In which case, it's absolutely impossible. Okay, so the word imposter syndrome, it's no accident that impossible, imposter. It's impossible not to have it because it's impossible to know the all of the answers. You're not going to know the answers, and if you did know all the answers, that would be weird, you know. And I think part of our brains needs to know. My assertion is that you don't need to know, you just need to do. And it's in the doing that your imposter syndrome will evaporate. Because, once, I've done this in, coaching. So, coaching that I've been coaching since 2008. I've got 4 clients that I work with at the moment. and that's enough for me because I've got all the rebel stuff and other things happening. So when I first started coaching, who am I to be a coach? What if I don't know what to say? What if I can't help them? All of these things actually prevented me from getting skin in the game and getting involved in a coaching conversation. Well, the short answer is I don't know. And I don't need to know. Like, and I'll show up, and if I like it, and if they like it and it works, I'll repeat. And if I show up and they don't like it or it doesn't work, I'll try something else. But I think, this kind of it's the action that you take that will change everything for you. So a little bit like my little Georgie, you take a deep breath and then you get in the pool and then off you go. And it doesn't matter whether you're feeling fear or imposter syndrome or not. What matters is that you take the action that's in your heart. And especially your business is a heart led business. That's amazing. Follow your heart in the doing. You've got your heart in the thing itself, but your heart needs to be your guide in the action that you take. That gets you out of your head. If you're in your head, you're already dead. Get in your heart and let your heart guide you as to the action that you need to take, and life will be good. Report back. Please let us know what happened, Sasha.
Wow. That
So
was
on
quite
to
good.
Napoleon then. So,
No, 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 no. So we've got just shy of 10 minutes left,
right.
Simon. We're approaching the end. Um, but as I said, that there's a second part to Liliana's question, which I think links really nicely with the
What?
previous two. And I think will be a fantastic one to end on. So Liliana, just in case anyone else has lost the story thread, is runs a dance club. She has put in the chat. She's not the dance teacher herself. She is the creator of the club, where she wants
Wow.
people to
Even
feel
better. She's a founder.
joyful in a friendly community, including herself.
Good for
So
you.
the second part of her question, and I think this will relate to so many people here. She says she's 2 years into the business and she's still facing challenges with venues and teachers, finding customers, even breaking even and making a profit. Should she take this as a sign to abandon her business idea to free up her time? Or should she remain committed to bringing her mission of bringing communities together in a joyful dancing space?
Oof. Oof. Well, what have you heard in that question? Because I quite like that last bit. Like, what do you spot?
The last bit to me, it immediately feels like the question is the answer.
Right.
I think
Oh, I love it when you do that.
branding, everyone. I think in how you've asked the question, especially that last bit, you could have said, Liliana, um, should you remain committed to running a dance club that doesn't bring in the money or the joy that you are wanting? But what you've said instead is remaining committed to your mission of bringing communities together. Like that, the passion of that answer for me reveals, well, that how could you say no to that?
Yeah. That's a really, really good catch, Jack. I think to me, uh, when she was saying about freeing up her time, what the second part of that answer says to me is if she freed up her time, what would she really want to be doing in her heart? It's probably bringing people together for the joy of dance in a community. Like that would she'd be freeing up her time to do the thing that she really loves to do. So I guess where that takes me is, and hopefully in the first part of the answer, Liliana, if I didn't send you to sleep, is that you've got a good sense of some action that you might be able to take in the how. Okay, so how am I going to make it more profitable? How am I going to make it sustainable? How am I going to make this thing work in a way that doesn't feel like I'm losing money or that it feels like a burden on my time? Because meanwhile, this is my vision, this is my dream, and my mission is the word you used, wasn't it? A mission. Jack, just read the mission out again, that bit again. You got it
The
handy?
committed to my mission of bringing communities together in a joyful dancing space.
So my question, Liliana, is are you? Are you committed to that? Because if you are committed to that, then that's great. And I can help you with that. I'm going to ask you a question. In fact, the question I'm going to ask is a great question. I asked it of two coaches that I was, two really good friends of mine, Ollie and Greg. Had a great call with them yesterday about their coaching businesses. And I asked all three of us the question that I'm about to ask you. And I'm probably building this question up a little bit more than it is. But it is a good question, and it is, it's a classic coaching question. I'm going to ask it in a very non-classic way, as you might expect. So, what other generals from a few hundred years ago can we bring in, Jack? Let's go with Seneca, shall we? Let's go with So the question I wanted to ask you, Liliana, is because I want you to let go of the how, all right? Because the how sometimes holds us back from clarity of what the dream is. All right. Just accept the fact that if it's important to you and it's in your heart, you're going to figure it out. You just haven't figured it out yet. You're just in experiment phase. You're just launching more experiments. You're tacking your way to the next part of your business, right? That's where we're at. Okay. So the question is this. If you woke up tomorrow morning, my coach gave me a great version of this. My coach is Jamie Smart. If you woke up tomorrow morning and your business, your community, your mission was operating exactly how you wanted it to, what would you see? What would you hear? And what would you feel? What would be the evidence that it was operating brilliantly? And I'm asking that question to everyone watching this. When you think of your own business, when you think of your lives, your family, your relationships, the stuff that you do with your hobbies and your spare time and so on, what do you want to have happen? Now, you might not know, right? But that's okay too. But tell me, what do you know? That's like, what information do you have currently available? What is it that you want? Now, if your answer to the question doesn't include what you've said in your mission, then it's time potentially to move on. But if what comes up for you when you explore that question, if you're still thinking about a community of joy centered around dance, if that's still coming up for you, then it's not time to give up. Okay. Now, no, we've actually got a podcast episode on this. How do you know when to give up? And that might be worth a listen because that will be slightly different to what I'm saying to you now. So there might be some more information for you. But essentially, when I ask someone that question of it's a version of the magic wand question, which is when I wake up tomorrow, if the magic wand had been waved and everything was operating chef's kiss beautifully, exactly how I wanted it to, what would be the evidence of that happening? And if the answers that come up for you are different to what you're currently doing, maybe your heart is telling you it's time for a shift. If the answers are similar, you've just got to work out the detail. Cement the vision first. Okay, get really kind of familiar with what you want it to look like, what you want it to feel like, where it's going to be, who's going to be there, how big it is, and commit. If you said remain committed, that suggests that you're wobbling a little. You're probably wobbling because you've not got the results that you want yet. But lean in. This is the time to be. If this is your vision and your dream and your mission, lean in, be committed, and then follow the steps that I gave you in the first part of the answer to dial up profitability. And already, as you sit here watching this and hearing my words, you might already be thinking of different innovation, different ways that you could bring your mission to life, right? Because uh, you've done how you've done so far, but what happens is with our dreams and our visions, we scale them down because we think about the how at the same time. So we sort of dial back on the vision and try and do two things at the same time. What I want you to do is forget the how for now, dial up the vision, make it really exciting and really clear, and then see what the how is that comes from that, because you might find your vision takes you into delivering dance in new and interesting ways and places and environments with people that you've not even considered yet. So dial up your vision, sit with it, spend time with it, make it rich, and then revisit the how after that.
Oof, it's not bad.
Jack, I need to go and lie down in the fridge. Thank you
Excellent.
everyone for watching. We're done,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Deep breath in, deep breath out. we've survived. It was the end of the first
Yes, we did it,
episode.
Jack.
We have done
We
it.
did an episode. I'm so excited.
Very excited. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. I know there are other questions and comments that we've been going on throughout this. We're going to jump into that thread afterwards and continue the conversation over there. What we would love to know from you guys in the comments is this was a pilot. This was our mini experiment. What did you think? Do you want to see more? What do you want to see us tackle? Something that's super helpful for us is when. When do you want us to run this? Is it a morning? Is it an evening? Is there a particular day that works? We want to build. If we're going to continue with this mini experiment, which I feel like we might, we want to know. We want to make it as impactful and as effective for you watching it as we possibly can. So please leave that comments. We're going to jump in and continue the conversation over there. The last bit is a call to action. I know we've had some people on this call who are actually on our course at the same time. Nice work. We have a lot of in-person events coming up as we go into the spring, which is very exciting. If you head to the rebelschool.com/events, you can come and join myself, Simon, and so many others in the Rebel team. We are coming to Westminster, Camden. We've got a course coming up in Dartford. We're going slightly further north. We're going to Scotland and Liverpool with more dates and locations to be announced. So if you want to come and join us and hang out in person, we have some online courses as well coming up. Please go to therebelschool.com/events to learn a bit more. But thank you so much for watching. This was so much fun. Simon, please don't take any more cough lozenges. Please put Vicks on your feet and whatever else other people are saying.
Watch me.
Yeah. I'm going to look after Simon. Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out. We will continue
Thank you,
to talk
everybody.
in the comments. Until next
Jack,
time.
you were amazing. Love you. Bye.
Bye.